Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We are live. Just gonna play the music for the radio portion of the show and then get started properly. We're here, and sorry about the weirdness. We had a moment for ourselves, so just bear with me, if you will. We're just getting it all in order, and here we are ready to go. And let's roll and start, shall we? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Nosey Liberal. My name is. We are live, and uh, just trying to get everything in order. Ran a little late today, and it is what it is because it is how it is. And story goes, it happens. Uh, and now you can see me on the video. Hi, let's try this a little better. Now you can see. Hi, how are you? We're here. We're live. Um, like I said, a little bit of technical issue, and as you can see, my hair is all bunched up because why not? I have this weird thing with my hair going on that I don't understand. But we're here, the Nosey Liberal, the new time. Tomorrow we will be taping the show at noon because
incoming subspace signal.
I have
incoming subspace
people
signal.
don't listen that I have a show at 3 o'clock. People think they can call at 3 o'clock. Unbelievable. Doing a live show, right? And we're people calling right during the live show. It's ridiculous. It's terrifying. And it's like, no, I'm doing a live show here. It might be a little screwed up, our first afternoon show, and I overslept, and I feel a little awkward because I overslept. Like I really I got up at when did Tom Rose get up? By the way, I'm Tom Rose, host of the Nosey Liberal. I got up at noon, and I didn't get out of bed. I was forced out of bed at 1:30 in the afternoon. That is after being up for 18 hours. So I was up for 18 hours. I didn't get out of bed. And I was like a complete and total mess. Just to start my day for today's show. But luckily, I had already done show prep because we have somewhat left from the other day. By the way, I deleted that show. It will never be. It will never be something anybody can see. It's gone. It is history. But I have art shows that and stories that I wanted to do. So I had very little show prep to actually have to do for today's 2-hour show. So I lucked out. I got really lucky in the sense that I don't have to worry about show prep today. Tom just has to make it right so we do a good 420 show. Because after all, today's a holiday, right? Today's 420. It should be like Christmas Day where a happy fat man goes around the country giving people weed and a joint. Everybody should get a joint on 420 a day. and it should be a mandatory smoke thing. I think if everybody got a joint on 420, the world would be a happier place. If everybody just sat down and smoked a joint and just puff pass, I think so many world conflicts would be solved. I think so many health issues would be solved. I think so many addiction issues would be solved. Just puff pass. Just and if you don't want to smoke, that's fine. Just sniff the air of the weed lathered room. Just sniff the air, and you will feel a little better. You will become a little hungry. You will become a little mellow. You will just have a nicer, dare I say, personality than you probably do right now. Just by smoking or sniffing a little bit of weed. I'm not saying you smoke a whole joint. If you don't want to smoke a joint, that is perfectly acceptable. Don't smoke a whole joint if you don't want to. Just have a little bit of a sniff. Just sniff it out. Just a little sniff of weed. And you will be in a better place. You will be brought, and no reefer madness here. No, everybody's gonna go crazy because they smoked a little weed. None of that. It's not gonna happen. In fact, your day will get better. You will have a better day. In fact, if you dare I say, smoke a joint and share a joint. You know that commercial from Coca-Cola where it is share a smile and a Coke. Well, share a joint and a puff. Have a puff and a joint and share it with a friend. The world will, I'm telling you, the world will be a better place. The world will be a friendlier place. It will be a nicer person. And it is just the right thing to do. Just saying. Hello to all those watching and listening to FY Nation. This is the Nosey Liberal. We are live on 420. And tomorrow, like I said, the show will be taped live at noon. And we'll have stories and stuff. And then rebroadcast the show at 3 o'clock for you. So there's that. Is how it is. We're going to take a quick break and be right back in just a quick second here. So just bear with me and we'll be right back after this message.
Hi, I'm Laura Flanders of The Laura Flanders Show, where I interview the best thinkers and doers of our time. On TV, the show premieres Sundays at 11:30 Eastern on PBS World and at the Laura Flanders Show YouTube channel. You can join my guests and me every week there in the live viewing party, and then catch us all week on public television stations. Prefer to listen? Find us on a radio station near you or subscribe to the free podcast. You'll find listings and ways to subscribe at lauraflanders.org. That's also where you'll receive my regular commentaries. I call them the F word. Here's this week's. In the middle of a brutal assault, it's difficult to talk about demilitarization, and so it was with trepidation that I convened a conversation about exactly that this month. One of my guests, Anastasia Lukhina, a war refugee from Ukraine, has a degree in peace building from Notre Dame University. In regular times, she said, she'd describe herself as a sort of peacenik, but now, quote, considering the situation and the losses we have on the ground, we really need military assistance and we really need modern warfare, and we need as much of it as we can get as soon as possible, she said. More warfare is certainly coming, even if Russian forces draw back from Kyiv and negotiations reach a deal. The conflict's already seen massive growth in weapons spending by the EU and NATO, even by countries like Germany and Denmark, who've been spending down for years. Russian spending is up and the US leads the pack. The Biden administration's proposed Pentagon budget for 2023 stands at $813 billion, bigger in real terms than ever before and as bloated as ever. And spending on Ukraine is only a tiny fraction of it. As Phyllis Bennis of the Institute for Policy Studies pointed out, the payment of billions of dollars on new weapons systems failed to prevent Russia's invasion. Indeed, Vladimir Putin used NATO's buildup as one of his excuses for it. As Phyllis put it on air, while there's an inevitable urgency for all things military right now, we know that greater militarization creates more problems afterwards. The idea of a neutral Ukrainian state gets fainter with every war crime. But if the US and NATO resume their military exercises in Ukraine, the risk of war with Russia will stay with us. In the end, my guests agreed that what's needed for a sustainable peace will be a victory in the war and an equal investment in the architecture of peace, and not just the president-to-president kind, but the people-to-people sort. Gesturing to a book on his shelf published by anti-war activists in 1913, Dmitry Makarov, zooming in from Russia, suggested that in today's interconnected world, we're much better equipped to communicate globally now than we ever were, and every local crisis has global implications. Could the OSCE, the UN, or the Council of Europe be empowered to monitor and constrain not just Russia's arms deals, but everyone's? Could today's sanctions regime provide a model? Conversations like this aren't easy, but we're going to need more of them, and they won't come on media networks underwritten by arms manufacturers. That's why I'm happy to be launching Season 3 of The Laura Flanders Show on PBS stations this week. Scholars of authoritarianism say that mind control begins with the limiting of options, a lopping off of a whole set of realities and choices. Dissenters say that what makes a difference is practice. And this conversation felt like practice. Practice in holding two things together at the same time. The need to stop this war and to work across national boundaries to prevent the next one. You can find my conversation with Ukrainian professor Anastasia Lukhina, Russian human rights defender Dmitry Makarov, and Phyllis Bennis, director of the New Internationalism Project at the Institute for Policy Studies, on PBS stations this week, or find it on YouTube. For The Laura Flanders Show, I'm Laura. Thanks for listening.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Welcome to the Nosey Liberal. I took a quick break because I misplaced something and I thought I would have enough time to find it. But in my very smart self, still couldn't find it. So unfortunately, I have to do the first story from scratch, essentially, which is annoying. I really I had an outline and I can't find the software that I used to produce the outline. So therein lies the problem, and that's why we took our first break, because I didn't want to use the story and go directly from the story. I wanted to go from the show prep I did, but I can't find the software that I use to load the story because problems. And we're going to talk about Sarah Palin. Apparently she's leading in the polls according to Free America 2016, and this is going to be an interesting conversation, but that's not the one we're having just yet, because we're going to talk about Sarah Palin, Carrie Lake, and all the other stuff. Well, women. It's going to be a women-filled predominantly women-filled second hour of the program, and which is good. I like women. Women are good. I have good women in my life. I have strong, capable women in my life, and that's how it should be. Behind every man should be a strong, wonderful, capable woman, and that if that's the truth, if that's the case, you then know you're doing it right. But that's not what we're talking about first. We're talking first about 420 day today, and my favorite thing from the Hill. This story comes from them, so you know the source. And I tweeted it out for you guys, and hashtag FYI Live. Now, the House. Oh, by the way, 202 Republicans do not want to smoke a joint and get high. All right? They do not want you to get high. The Republican Party is against you having a little marijuana in your life. They don't want you to legalize it. They don't see the benefits. They don't see you taking personal responsibility of legalization. They just think weed, bad thing. We can't allow people to be doing this sort of thing. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to accomplish. They can't see in America without Nancy Reagan telling you just say no. All right. So the Republican Party is against you having the ability to smoke weed. 202 Republicans, 2 in the House of Representatives, 2 Democratic Congresspeople in the House. Are like, no, you can't do weed. 3 Republicans are okay with you doing a little weed, having marijuana, legalizing marijuana, and making it okay in America. So, what does this tell? This tells you that the Republican Party is still very pro. Don't just say no, which is ironic considering they're full of rapists and pedophiles. The Republican Party thinks just say no is okay thing. And they don't believe in you having personal responsibility and the freedom to be able to say, you know, I want to have weed. I'm okay with weed. Weed doesn't do anything bad to me. So I'm going to do a little bit of a joint. I'm going to have a joint. And this is another difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party says, you know, we agree with the story that Cornell University researchers have found that weed is not that bad a deal, basically. From all 50 states, 2011 to 2019, they researched data in Medicare and Medicaid services. They found that a decline in the volume of prescription targeting pain, depression, anxiety, sleep, psychosis, and seizures in the states that have legalized recreational use. So if you have legalized recreational use of marijuana, okay, Mary Jane, if you will, if you have gone and said, you know what, I'm okay with this. And I think it should be a prevalent thing for Americans to have. And my hair is driving me nuts. And this little thing, this little flip flop thing, feels like I have a crown on my head. But they are like totally okay with the whole let's get high thing. States that have legalized it. Because they see, and rightly so, that the study has found the pain, depression, anxiety prescription rate goes down because of the use of marijuana. Right? They have found that the use of marijuana has made the want to use prescription pain medication and opioids, the true gateway drug to heroin and fentanyl and everything else. The real gateway drug. See, they're not going to talk to you about this on real media, corporate media, because they're paid for by prescription drug pharmacies. And they are not willing to have an honest discussion about this. And it's a shock that the Hill of all places did this particular study to find, or study, I'm sorry, this report on the study, because this is what I have happen when I don't have my notes with me and I have to do it straight from the website. We find that, oh my God, we have something that is a good thing. We have a good thing here, and it should be noted that we have 37 states and the DC District of Columbia currently permit the use of medical marijuana with a prescription. So those 37 states are on the right track, at least. Now what we have to do is legalize it nationally and make it a hell of a lot easier for people to be able to get and to achieve and sell and become an entrepreneur. Because you create, a whole new marketplace when you do this. And lowering demand for expensive prescriptions is a good thing for people who are, poor and middle class. It's a way, in fact, a gateway to happiness. And this new study by Cornell University have found, thanks to the data, that the volumes of prescriptions doing this decline. The prescriptions for depression, anxiety, sleep, psychosis, and seizures that have legalized recreational use decline for your opioid use. And if you're trying to combat opioids, the best way to do it, thanks to the study, is to legalize the use of marijuana. Now, a good step forward, which 37 states have done, is to legalize medical use of marijuana, but that still hampers because you got to get a card, you got to get a prescription, you got to get a note from the doctor, you got to get a doctor that is not crazed with reefer madness. You can't just take personal responsibility for yourself. Alcohol. So, I don't know why that happened. My apologies. That was weird. For those watching, my YouTube server kind of glitched and went bonkers for a minute. So you have people in 37 states able to take personal responsibility for their bodies and for what they want to do. And you find, rightly so, that, oh my God, you can get high and not have to take opioids. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing victory that we have found that opioid addiction, the true gateway drug to heroin, if you want to talk about going to heroin, this is the way to do it. So we're going to take a break, bottom of the hour, and we'll be right back after this. And just bear with me. And we'll talk more about this when we come back. We'll be right back on the Nosey Liberal.
Insight Daily Radio. Author, humorist, and radio personality Garrison Keillor has been a fixture in popular culture since the 1970s, with more than 30 best-selling books and his Prairie Home Companion radio program. And he has a new book entitled Boomtown, a Lake Wobegon novel. We caught up with Garrison to chat about his new book and the creative journey that continues to bring Lake Wobegon to life.
In the course of doing the radio show, I didn't want to simply be the MC and say, please won't you welcome Leo Kottke. I wanted to have something to do myself, and so I decided I would tell stories and invent a town called Lake Wobegon, and I would populate it with some of the people I grew up with and my relatives, changing their names to protect the innocent. So I came back to it, my childhood, as a practical matter to give myself material. I exploited my childhood, I would say, rather than come to appreciate it. I mean, I'm grateful for it now. Now I look back and I see that without it, I would have been lost up a creek. Instead, I was beside a lake.
That's author and humorist Garrison Keillor, whose new book, Boomtown, a Lake Wobegon novel, has just been released and is now available wherever books are sold. Insight Daily Radio.
Okay, we are back and we are live and we're here. So, how are you? Talking about marijuana, legalization of marijuana, and how, frankly, the legalization of marijuana is something that is a good thing to stop opioid use and the addiction problem and gateway to not marijuana but heroin. Opioid use is what usually is the way that people will want to go to something stronger after they lose the prescription that they have. They will find that heroin is the next best thing and go to the next best thing, which is what you get. You get to heroin. It's that simple. It's not good. It's not a way we should have, but it's that simple. And 202 Republicans, these are Republicans now, 202 Republicans decided that legalization of drugs is something that is not good for America. 202 Republicans in the House of Representatives decided that you are not eligible enough to take personal responsibility for yourself. You are not capable enough to be able to say, oh my God, this is something that I can take, and this is something that will help me out in the long run. Instead, they say, what do they say? They say, no, you can't have this. And these Republicans, in the face now of a study that says the opioid use is dramatically down when you go and when you choose to go the correct route, when you choose to decide that going to prescription or legalization, recreational use of marijuana. When the states that do this, we have found dramatic decrease of places that will use opioids, and people, not places. Corporations are people, my friends. No, you have to understand that we should have the choice to be able to make here, and we should be able to say, okay, this is something that I want to decide to do, and I have decided that I am a grown ass person, and I have decided to take marijuana to reduce pain, to reduce anxiety, to reduce depression, to reduce whatever ails me, and not go to, oh, I don't know, some doctor who's going to say, yeah, I have an opioid. And when the script runs out, we're not going to help you anymore because we can't trust you. You can go to heroin. Just go to heroin. Once the script runs out, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the thing. Just go to heroin. No, what you need is Mary Jane. I'm a strong proponent, if you can't tell, of legalization of marijuana, because marijuana is not what Nancy Reagan said it would be. And on this 420 day, which is a great day, it's a beautiful day, it's a wonderful day, 420 day, we need to have the acknowledgement of a study that has found that opioid use goes down. And this is not some quick study where we just want to get the data and Frank lunch it and, oh, look, we have this study. No, this is a study that comes out and says legalization of marijuana in the 37 states plus the District of Columbia, who said, this is something I want to do. Okay, we're going to do it. Here we are. These states have shown that this is a good, smart thing for people to do. And the study that is amazing by Cornell University directly shows the correlation through the data that prescriptions targeting pain, depression, anxiety, sleep, psychosis, and seizures in states have legalized recreational medical marijuana use have gone down. The use of these prescriptions have gone down because you have an alternative to go to deal with sleep psychosis, seizures, anxiety, depression. Excuse me. And I mean, it's sad that in this day and age we need a study to show this, but we have Reaganized the use of, I don't know, the use of studies and weaponized studies where we can now use this tool that we have of the study to say, look, you nincompoop Republicans, you 202 Republicans, so you're okay with gateway drug opiates going into the community and then getting people addicted to heroin and helping MS-13 that you always seem to worry about, and helping all these baddies, these bad actors that you throw at us all the time. You're okay with continuing the process of these people being able to be a thing instead of doing the right thing. You are okay with allowing the wrong thing to be perpetuated. I don't understand it. I just don't. You'll have to explain it to me. You'll have to explain it to me, because I do not understand how it is that we live in a country that accepts personal responsibility as the thing, where you have to pay for your own health care. You are personally responsible for your own health care. Okay, why can't we take that one step further and then say, okay, let me try this again. You are then personally responsible for your own well-being while dealing with that healthcare. Why can't we be in that country? Why do we have to be in the country that says, no, that's illegal? The use of medical marijuana is illegal. Could it be that we want to incarcerate minorities who generally deal? By the way, the two people who I go for my substances, because I can't just go to the corner store and get them, the two people who I go to for substances are white. They are not a minority. Just saying. And why not help minority populations out there? What is wrong with going to the minority populations and saying, we're going to help you expand business, small business, by allowing you to grow and deal marijuana? Could it be because the prescription companies have a lockdown on pain, anxiety, depression, and psychosis, and seizure medications? Could it be that there is a grand, conspiracy targeting minorities who start maybe dealing just one thing, and then they're wrapped into say, dealing this isn't so bad, let's steal the next thing. We get a wider customer base. You see where I'm going with this? So could it be that if we smartly go the route of let's make this situation a legal situation, then we will lower the overall use of opioid use, as the study shows in the country. Remember, 202 House of Representative Republicans think that you do not have the capabilities as an American to go out and decide for yourself if you should be using opioids. They believe that you are not capable of doing this on your own. They believe that you should just say no, which is ironic because they're okay with rapists and pedophiles in their party who are totally object to just say no. But they are okay with, just say yes if I'm doing it. And again, look at what we're at and what we're asked to deal with. We have a situation where we have a party that is entrenched in a campaign against minorities and, dare I say, white people who just want to puff ass. They just want to get high legally. They want to get high. What's wrong? What is wrong with just wanting to get high? What is wrong with wanting to get rid of the pain, the depression, the anxiety, the seizures without the use of narcotic prescription drugs? I'll tell you what's wrong. What's wrong is the prescription drug companies do not get their cut. The prescription drug companies have not figured out a way to monopolize the use of marijuana and make money for their bottom line. So hence, it becomes just say no. You cannot do this thing this way. Here we are. And then you have the system in place that hurts the American people. And by the way, I love the 3 o'clock hour. I must say, doing the show in the 3 o'clock hour is totally satisfying. I'm glad you're here and you're with me. And on this 420, we're discussing the benefits of allowing people to just say yes. And a study that has come out that says, okay, America, you're going to just say yes, and we're with you on that. This, my friends, is exactly what we need. We need more people to come out and say, I agree with this study. The 202 Republicans that disagree with legalization marijuana in the House of Representatives are wrong, terribly wrong. And I am on the right side of history, where I believe that opioid use for pain medication, for seizures, for depression, for anxiety is just a way for big companies to get rich off of my hurt, off of my pain. That is what it is. It is a way for them to be able to monopolize my pain. And you shouldn't, in a perfect world, you shouldn't want to monopolize someone else's pain. It's that simple. You shouldn't want to do that. But here we have a study that says from 2011 to 2019, a decline in prescription use because legalization of marijuana was available. And this is not a study that is just oh my God, I'm going to use a study to weaponize my target audience, and I'm going to have a quick study that says this, that, and the other, send it out. This is a study that took time. This is years and years and years of data from 50 states that shows the information and the impact of what doing the right thing with medical marijuana use can have on the American people. And on this 420 day, this is something that should be celebrated and shouted out loud. Because I truly believe that the more people that interact with this program and the more people that know about the positive use of medical and recreational marijuana, they will say, oh my God, Nancy Reagan was wrong. Nancy Reagan was wrong. She didn't have it correct. Just say no is not the answer when it comes to drug use. Unfortunately, when it comes to recreational drug use or medical drug use for any type of drug situation, we do not have a fancy slogan, a Frank Luntz fancy slogan. We don't have that. We do not have a just say no. Just say no. We don't there's no just say no vernacular that we can go to um for recreational and medical use, because it deals with logic, it deals with reason, it deals with facts, and those things for responsible adults carry the way. Okay, they carry the way. The irresponsible just say no crowd, they need a slogan. Because what they want to do, the just say no crowd, that is just say no. We're against. Aren't you against fentanyl? Aren't you going to put fentanyl in your drugs? Aren't you against fentanyl and Chinese manufacturer of fentanyl? Aren't you against that? They diffuse a realistic debate by coming up with this self-righteous indignation when it comes to dealing with the drug issue. They want to completely end any style of rationalization and critical thinking when it comes to dealing with use of drugs and use of talking about drugs. They want to rip that out, beat it until it's dead, and everybody agrees. They don't want to defund the police is a perfect example. They don't want to have an and critical discussion about why people want to defund the police. They just want to say, you want to defund the police? Why are you against the police? You're for anarchy and civil disobedience. You're not for the rule of law. Blah 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 blah. They attack the message, and this is why Democrats, progressives, and libertarians who want to legalize marijuana have such a piss poor time at messaging, because it's not it's not a simple way to go about it. It's a difficult, arduous path that you're going to take when it comes to talking about the legalization of marijuana. It's not something that you can just say. You can just say, okay, we're going to do it because we're going to reduce opioids and the gateway to heroin. Because they have cultivated this idea that the gateway drug use by the population in general is because of marijuana, and then you go to cocaine, and then you go to heroin, and then you go to by the way, there are a difference between uppers and downers too, by the way, just saying, pointing that out there. Oh my god. So there's that. Tomorrow's show, for those just tuning in, tomorrow's show will be a taped version at noon, so we'll be on the YouTubes and the Twitch and everywhere at noon o'clock for 2 hours, and then we will be able and be back tomorrow with more stories, and or maybe just one story an hour. I kind of like this. We talked about this one story for the whole hour, and we had a discussion. I wish we had more commenters in the comment section or hashtag FYI Live, but that doesn't always happen, and Tom doesn't always get his way at the Nosey Liberal. But not everybody's supposed to have their way. Just like I'm terrified of going to the dentist, but I have forced myself to deal with a dental appointment. And it is what it is. And it's how you deal with it. If there was a way to just take a little joint of marijuana and deal with my dental issues, I would so do that, because oh my god, I hate going to the dentist. That being said, I want to explore this a little bit more while we have time, to remind you the simple facts that the Republican Party do not want you to smoke and get high. They are not okay with personal responsibility. And I have the receipts. I have the direct receipts. The vote to approve the legalization of marijuana carried by 217 Democratic people. 202 Republican people were like, you ain't getting that weed. You ain't getting that Mary Jane, baby. You ain't going there. 202 Republicans sided with Nancy Reagan and just say no, because they side with the opioid producing prescription drug manufacturing companies, who are totally okay with just going down that wagon train to the bullshit mountain and just swimming in it. They are okay with just taking it and giving you some nonsensical reasoning without critical thinking and without studies to back it up, to just say no. This is what they want to do. They want to just say no you to that, which again is ironic considering the party of personal responsibility in this Republican Party will not allow you to take the personal responsibility for your health issues. They won't allow you to do that. But this is typical of the Republican Party. They are totalitarian in their views. They believe that this is the only way, and this is the way that you're going to go. So why not just go there? Why not just listen? What is your problem, dog? Why are you not doing it the way we tell you to do it and go that direction? This is the modern Republican Party. The modern Republican Party does not want you to be able to take personal responsibility for your well-being and say, okay, a little bit of drug use is not going to hurt me. They don't want you to do that. Instead, they are okay. They are fundamentally all right with incarceration and bully tactics from the police when it comes to something as simple as a marijuana deal. And I'm just not down for that. And rational people are not down for that type of situation. I did this whole hour. I'm so proud of myself. I did this whole hour on one subject, and I didn't think I'd be able to do it. This entire hour, except for a little break with our little wardrobe malfunction, I was able and managed to do with a complete story, and I'm happy about it. I am. So there's that. I must say, this is wonderful. By the way, programming note: I will be on Jeff Waldorf's show on May 2nd. May 2nd, I will be on Jeff Waldorf's show. And May 2nd, I will simulcast Jeff Waldorf's show with this show. So you can catch me and Jeff on this channel, or however you do. We will simulcast it and be live together, because that is how you do it. So that is the news from that. So hi everybody. You want to leave a comment? Leave a comment. We'll talk about it. Hashtag FYI Live is the way to do that as well. We're talking about 420 Day and how Republicans just say no campaign has been a dramatic failure when it comes to marijuana, and how they are at the wrong end of history yet again, siding with big corporations and the bottom line. And this is yet another thing you can point out to your friends who say, oh, there's no difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. There is a difference, and it is the legalization of marijuana. If you want to legalize marijuana, the Democratic Party is fully, forcibly willing to legalize recreational use of marijuana. If you do not want to, recreational use of marijuana, not just medical, but recreational use of marijuana. If you do not want to do that, the Republican Party and Trumplicans are your friends, and you should go to them and break bread with them and be happier than pigs in poop with them, because they are the party that will get you through the day. But if you want to legalize recreational use of marijuana, Mary Jane, no reefer madness here. The only madness is the Republican Party not wanting to do this and not wanting to stop opioid use. And the study from Cornell University that we're talking about this hour on 420 Day proves, without a doubt, that the 37 states in the District of Columbia that have decided to take the right way, the positive way, that have said, you know what, I am okay with the Mary Jane. I am okay with just say yes. A just say yes policy for marijuana use is the most apt policy that you can go with and see that works for the American people. If you discourage this policy, if you do not want to go with this policy, then you are hurting only yourself. You are only hurting yourself. And that is unfortunate if you want to do that. You should want to be for the whole and everybody get a piece of the pie. But unfortunately, that's not always the case, and definitely not the case with our Republican friends. We'll be right back. This is the Nosey Liberal. We are live, and hope you are enjoying the program. And I'm happy to be here. Hope you're happy to be here on this 420 happy day.
Insight Daily Radio. Author, humorist, and radio personality Garrison Keillor has been a fixture in popular culture since the 1970s, with more than 30 best-selling books and his Prairie Home Companion radio program. And he has a new book entitled Boomtown, a Lake Wobegon novel. We caught up with Garrison to chat about his new book and the creative journey that continues to bring Lake Wobegon to life.
In the course of doing the radio show, I didn't want to simply be the MC and say, please won't you welcome Leo Kottke. I wanted to have something to do myself, and so I decided I would tell stories and invent a town called Lake Wobegon, and I would populate it with some of the people I grew up with and my relatives, changing their names to protect the innocent. So I came back to it, my childhood, as a practical matter to give myself material. I exploited my childhood, I would say, rather than come to appreciate it. I mean, I'm grateful for it now. Now I look back and I see that without it, I would have been I would have been lost up a creek. Instead, I was beside a lake.
That's author and humorist Garrison Keillor, whose new book, Boomtown, a Lake Wobegon novel, has just been released and is now available wherever books are sold. Insight Daily Radio.
Cacti are in a prickly situation. That story and more on H2O Radio's weekly news report. I'm Jamie Sudler.
I'm Franny Halprin, and it's This Week in Water.
The Biden administration is considering a first-ever action plan for global water security.
Axios reports that the plan seeks to protect the world's water resources, not just those of the U.S. If approved, it would create a global framework for ensuring universal access to clean and reliable water.
The plan comes as the lack of access to water threatens many around the world. According to the UN, global demand will exceed supply by 40% in just 8 years. About 2 billion people now lack safe drinking water, and many more do not have access to sanitation.
Besides the impact on human lives, this crisis raises the risk of border conflicts, cyber attacks on water systems, and increased migration. The World Bank stated that climate change could exacerbate vulnerabilities and create tensions and instability.
Recognizing that global water security is tied to national security, the goals of the plan would be to ensure America's supplies and prevent conflicts, including in Africa and the Middle East.
Sand is used in many products, including concrete, computer chips, and glass. Most of it comes from lakes, rivers, beaches, and the sea.
The demand for sand has tripled over the last 20 years, due mostly to population growth and urbanization. It is the most exploited natural resource on the planet after water.
Unsustainable sand mining can result in riverbanks collapsing, coastal erosion, and biodiversity loss. Also, the resource is at the center of a vast international criminal trade in which people have been killed.
Researchers at the University of Geneva and the University of Queensland say they have found a way to increase the supply of sand while solving another environmental problem, leftover material from mining, which is the world's largest waste stream.
What they call ore sand is a byproduct as rocks are crushed to extract metals. Ore sand has a large potential for reducing the amount of the resource taken from natural environments, and using it would move toward a more circular economy.
The research also shows that using mining waste instead of sand from rivers, lakes, and coastlines could lead to net reductions in carbon emissions, both from production and transportation.
Cacti are in a prickly situation. A new study led by the University of Arizona has found that a high percentage of them could succumb to climate change by the middle of the century.
It's a surprising finding given we picture cactus as tough, spiny plants living in harsh desert conditions. But cacti inhabit a range of ecosystems from rainforests to mountains and coastlines where they've adapted to their niche environments. Unfortunately, as the planet warms, that adaptation could be their undoing.
As the New York Times reports, researchers looked at over 400 cactus species and how their geographic range could shift under 3 carbon emission scenarios.
They found that in all cases, climate change put 60 to 90% of cactus species at a higher risk of extinction by mid to late century as the amount of habitat they are suited to shrinks. And that's not even taking into account other threats like ecosystem destruction, poaching, or wildfires.
The researchers say cacti in Florida, central Mexico, and large parts of Brazil could be the most impacted. And finally, we know that humans are far from the only living beings that communicate. Dogs bark, whales sing, and mushrooms talk.
That's what Professor Andrew Adamatsky at the University of the West of England suggests. In a recent study, he thinks he's found evidence that some fungi produce electrical impulses in patterns that resemble human speech.
Mushrooms that you see on the surface are the fruits of an underground fungal organism connected by a network called mycelium, a structure similar to neurons in the human body. Adamatsky wanted to investigate if signals traveling through the network help the fungi communicate.
For his experiment, he put tiny electrodes into the root network of 4 fungi species, enoki, split-gill, ghost, and caterpillar, to measure spikes in electrical activity. He found spikes often clustered into trains of activity, creating a vocabulary of nearly 50 words.
According to The Guardian, the split-gill mushroom, which feeds off wood, was the most chatty. Adamatsky observed sharp spikes in its electrical signals when its roots encountered pieces of wood, which he thinks was a fungi's way of telling other mushrooms it had scored some food.
Or not, Adamatsky concedes his findings could be meaningless, but thinks the spiking events don't seem random.
Some scientists are skeptical, calling the suggestion of a fungal language, quote, over-enthusiastic, but they should beware. They risk mushrooms talking behind their backs.
That's it for This Week in Water. Support comes from G.C. Green, a veteran, woman, and Native American-owned clean energy and resiliency solutions company. Learn more at gcgreen.com.
Hey, ho, ho. Welcome to the Nosey Liberal, the most liberalist show for you on the internets. We are streamed on the YouTube, the Twitch, the where are we? We're on our Roku channel, streaming live on our Roku channel, where you can just go commercial free and go on our Roku channel and watch us when we do live broadcasting. I love our Roku channel. Our Roku channel is pretty damn cool. Lots and lots and lots and lots of ways to be able to catch us live, and I love doing it. I love being here. It's fun. I wish we had more participation to hashtag FY Live. I wish we had $40 a day to our Patreon. But that just isn't the case just yet. I wish a lot of things, right? I wish I was making $5,000 a month, like my bank statement says, and not poor. I wish that I could afford to give everybody a joint for 420 day. I wish I could make everybody have a little puff pass in their day. I wish. What else do I wish? I wish that TuneIn would update the schedule for FYI Nation correctly. I wish we could all break bread together and not have silly petty arguments and really come together as one great big family under one flag of peace and opportunity. I wish that we had no wars. I wish Putin was not testing ballistic missiles during the crisis in Ukraine. I wish a lot. I wish a lot of things, and most of them. I have some personal wishes, but most of them do not involve me. Most of my wishes are not Tom-centric wishes. They are wishes for a better future for my kid. I wish Johnny Depp was not going through this crazy, insane trial that he seems to be going through. By the way, he is so. I love when you get to see actors and actresses in their true personalities. You find out what kind of person they are. And I'm getting snippets of the Johnny Depp trial, that Johnny Depp is just a real shy man who is trying to do what's necessary for him and his family. I don't see any outlandish or boisterous behavior. I see a guy just trying to make it through. and trying to get by and trying to, and excuse me, I need a sip of this because my mouth is dry. I know, very professional of me. I just see a guy who is trying to be there, and it is what it is. Just like our first story in this second hour of the Nosey Liberal. You either have it or you don't. Okay? You either have it or you don't. You either are able to make something or it falls apart. That's the way of the world. It's unfortunate that that's the way of the world, but when you're in a capitalistic society that does not embrace communism, socialism, or democratic socialism, and does not embrace a Sweden type of society, that is what you are left with. Okay? So here we are in dealing with this. In dealing with this, we come to learn that CNN, the cable news network, the very first one, CNN, is not doing that well. CNN is not doing that well. In fact, CNN is doing rather poorly. By the way, breaking news, Ukraine has proposed peace negotiations with Russia over Mariupol, but as Laffy says, who tweeted this news, I believe it's futile as well because the Russians do not want peace, and that's the way of the, wish for peace, and then you get a Russian ICBM. So there's that. Let's see. We have the CNN, first cable news outlet that started the 24/7 news cycle. They are a company that has a tape set up for the end of the world. They literally have made an end of the world tape. I don't know if they update this tape or not, but they have an end of the world tape. And CNN is they're all right. They're if you want to go for mostly unbiased news, you go to CNN. Now this Hill article seems to try to say that you can't do streaming news platforms, and I beg to differ with them. I beg to differ with them. I think you can't do CNN Plus streaming news, because the CNN model is not an entertainment model like these other news models, including ours. Our news model is the Nosey Liberal, and FYNation.com is not a straight news model, right? We do not say, okay, this is the news, this is how we're going to talk about it, this is blah blah blah, and this is how it is. We have a progressive stint to our news. The CNN is a straight news model. Now, some will say it's a liberal news model. Some will say it's a corporate news model. But I still say it is trying to be a straight news model where you get an anchor, not doing it an opinion show per se, though they do have opinion shows, but giving you, a straight news take on the day's events. That's what CNN does. That is, if the story breaks, who goes to where? Usually it is CNN. and then Fox News, and then MSNBC. But usually, when a story breaks, the first place people go to is CNN, because CNN handles breaking news. CNN is a trusted, John McCain quotes, news source. Me personally, if I go to news, I go to France 24, Al Jazeera, BBC World Service. I go to other places for my news, because I will get a less corporate line with these other places, and that's what I want. If I want commentary, I'll go to the Young Turks, I'll go to Tara Devlin, I'll go to Robin Kincaid, I'll go to Jeff Waldorf, I'll go to other places for commentary, and that is commentary opinion news. It is not straight, here are the facts, just the facts, blah, blah, blah. It is different. If you want right-wing news, you have Glenn Beck, you have Dave Rubin, you have, what's their name, on the right, Schmidt, you have all those right-wingers on Newsmax and OANN, and you have all those places you can go and get your right-wing cup of tea that you like, because there's never enough right-wing capitalistic loving news in the world to share. And then you have the far right wing of Newsmax, or I'm sorry, of InfoWars and Stu Peters and those troglodytes. So you have a plethora of places to be able to go for your news, which is my point. You can go anywhere. So why would you want CNN? This is a bad, see, every once in a while, a good business model decides, I'm going to go with a bad business model decision. And CNN, has gone with a bad business model decision. CNN has decided, we're going to have a streaming model, and like we do, we have a streaming model, and we are going to charge people for a subscription, and we're going to call it CNN Plus. CNN Plus. Okay, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Apple Plus. Can you come up with an original name, CNN? Hell, CNN Online could have been more original than CNN. Everybody is doing plus. Plus what? Plus me, plus one, plus go F yourself, plus what? What are you plussing? So they are going with a subscription-based vertical. And there's nothing wrong with that. The subscription-based vertical works if you do it right. Glenn Beck has proven it works. Cenk Uygur has proven it works. Tara Devlin has proven it works. Robin Kincaid has proven it works. There are people who have been able to prove that the news streaming model vertical works. CNN Plus is someone, oh, by the way, Fox Nation has proved that the streaming model works. Okay? Even OANN has proved that the streaming model works for news. InfoWars proved the streaming news model works for news. On and on and on and on. CNN, which has been a cable news network for 20 plus years now, can't get it together in the streaming model. I wonder why. They are trying to deal with cord cutting and haven't come to the conclusion that nobody likes to pay for a service that they can find elsewhere when you cut the cord. I can go to Pluto, I can go to I can go to I can't remember the name of the other streaming service, but I could go to multiple YouTube TV. I can go to other places and get CNN. Why would I then pay for CNN Plus? What is the attraction to me to go and get CNN Plus? Oh, Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, no longer there. What is the attraction to go and pay $5.99 or $10.99 and give you my subscription dollar? Anthony Bourdain, he's dead. He's not going to make any more. He's not going to make any more things. Sorry, it's not going to happen. He's dead. So why then CNN would say, "Oh my God, this seems like a good idea"? They don't have enough entertainers. Where Fox News, and this is to prove that the business model for streaming news is not dead. If you have enough people to keep it alive, you can do streamed news vertical. CNN does not have enough talent to do a streamed news vertical. Is part of the problem. And the other part of the problem is, who the hell wants to pay for it? And CNN has learned no one wants to pay for their multi-billion-dollar investment, according to The Hill. After only 3 weeks of being available to consumers, a spokesperson is claiming CNN is the top news subscription services on the planet, in the market. We remain very happy with CNN Plus's performance today and are proud of what our team has built. According to Axios in the Hill article, they only have 150,000 subscribers. And external marketing spending has been halted by the newly formed Warner Media Discovery conglomerate after receiving those horrible numbers. They wanted 2 million subscribers within the first year. Now, I'm going to look this up because this is interesting. I want to go with the right numbers. But let me see if I can get it. Young Turks subscriber numbers. We're going to look up the Young Turks. Young Turks have been around forever, and the Young Turks has let's see. This is according to socialblade.com. They have an 83rd news rank, and they earn between 5,000 to 81,000 K in monthly earnings, which is nice. I would like to earn that. But their subscribers, they have in total, and they've been doing this for a while, is 5.17 million. CNN Plus wants to get to $2 million within the first year. That's not good. The Young Turks has been around for years, and I bet if they launched a new channel, they could get 2 million easily, without a doubt. The network had planned to spend more than $300 million on launching the service. I wish I had $300 million to pay for FYNation.com. Oh my God. We're going on shoestring budget here. They are trying to be more like Fox News and MSNBC, but not quite there. And this article is saying it could cause other news organizations to decide what to do and where to allocate resources. Well, look, as someone who's doing this and doing it very slowly, you need talent. All right? You need talent. When you're going to do a subscription service, you need to have talent. So if you do not have talent going into a subscription-based service, you are not going to be able to make it. Like the Young Turks, they have talent. They have different providers of talent. So in fact, their subscription service does not fail, and they can get 5.17 million followers and subscribers, rather. So they have shown they have a proven track record of being able to go and say, we have talent, we can do this. Fox News, we're going to look that up. Let's go to Fox News, Fox Nation subscribers, just for an angle on the right, because they are the one on the right one doing it, and there are no let's see, how many subscribers does Fox have? And I'm not getting a good number, except a Variety is reporting that they have grown 40%, but they are not giving out numbers. So so they're only 2.5 years old, and they're saying they're growing. So I'm going to guess that Fox Nation probably has maybe 2 million subscribers. Let's just say 2 million subscribers, which is a nice. Fox News, Fox Nation. But they, again, Fox News went out and did it the right way. Fox News, for all the problems with Fox News said, we have talent, we're going to use talent, we're going to make talent work, and we did it. That's the problem with the subscriber service CNN. They want to throw all this money at something and not have any talent to be able to back it up. Fox Nation has talent. For whatever you believe about Fox Network as a television network and news channel, Fox Nation subscriber channel has talent to be able to do it, and they are doing it the right way. And there you have it. Other subscription services have done that right. CNN did it wrong, and that is why they're failing. Simple as that. We'll be right back.
I'm Dr. Anthony Lizowitz, and this is Climate Connections. The Biden administration has set a goal that half of all new cars sold in the U.S. will be electric by 2030. And many states are creating plans to encourage drivers to make the switch. Christian Mitchell is Deputy Governor for Public Safety, Infrastructure, Energy, and the Environment in Illinois.
The governor has a very exciting goal around electric vehicles. We want to have 1 million electric vehicles on the road by 2030, and we are attacking that from all ends. On the cost side, we're providing a $4,000 incentive for consumers to go out and buy an electric vehicle.
Combined with federal tax credits, that can lower the price of an EV by more than $10,000. But cost is not the only barrier to EV adoption. Some drivers are hesitant to go electric because they're worried they'll run out of battery power on longer drives.
The question is, can I take an electric vehicle from start to finish? How do I make sure there are enough chargers between here and there to know that I can get to my destination with reasonable reliability?
So to help expand charging infrastructure, the state will offer rebates and grants to cover up to 80% of the cost of installing new charging stations. Mitchell says the investments will help position Illinois as a leader in the transition to electric vehicles. Climate Connections is produced by the Yale Center for Environmental Communication. To hear more stories like this, visit climateconnections.org.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Welcome back to the show. We are live and we are talking about it. And let's go to the next story, shall we? We talked about one story the first hour, and it's 420 day. And it is an awesome day. And I hope you're having a nice little pop-up fast moment. And if you're not, help somebody get a pop-up fast moment. That is always a nice gesture. I'm going to pop up pass a little later with the girlfriend. So there is always that. That being said, welcome to the program. Hope you're doing well. I hope things are good. I hope you are healthy, happy, safe, and just in an all around good mood. I hope things are all right for you. And this is the final half hour of the program. And we're going to talk about Roseanne Barr first. And I like Rose. I grew up with Roseanne. I had my first girl crush was Darlene from Roseanne, Sarah Gilbert. I always had a crush on her. I loved her character. I loved everything about her character. That was my first girl crush. Ironically, David from the Roseanne show was also a boy crush of mine, which would have made very interesting menage a trois. But that being said, those were my first crushes when I was younger because of TV, and I love Roseanne, the sitcom. Roseanne the person. Now, full disclosure, I went and when I lived in Las Vegas, I went and saw Roseanne at the which hotel was it? They tore it down. I think it was the Stardust Hotel that I saw Roseanne play in the lounge, and she was not sober, which is totally okay. But she did a live comedy show, and she was my first comedian that I ever. Roseanne was my first and only comedian that I've ever paid for to go see. I have been lucky enough to be able to see other comedians like Ron Palacone, who I'm going to see on the 25th. I have seen them, but I have seen them without paying. She's my only comedian to date that I have spent money on and saw the show, and I had really good seats. I was maybe inches from the stage. It was a really good show. This was pre-Trump. Okay, part of the reason why it was so good, the show was pre-Donald Trump. Okay, before she had her batshit crazy moment of Roseanneism, Trumplicanism. I went and I saw Roseanne, and I must say, like I said, the show was good. I enjoyed the show. I thought she was wonderful, and I liked Roseanne when Roseanne was on the Green Party primary going against Jill Stein. I liked that Roseanne. I thought she was, if anything, she helped uh, get Jill Stein known as a commodity because she elevated the discussion because she was running for president on the Green Party and did her best to be president. That. So, long story short, that Roseanne I liked as a person. This Roseanne, the whiny cancel culture Roseanne that we now know, I do not like. Okay, I like the Roseanne of the 80s and the 90s who was speaking to the middle class, who was a populist, a true populist, who understood that you're not going to, no politician is going to just give it to you. They're not going to help you. There's a great scene in Roseanne where a politician comes door knocking and they have a discussion, and the politician doesn't know how to handle Roseanne. And that Roseanne, that educated, intelligent, vibrant Roseanne, that Roseanne I liked. The Roseanne that we encounter today, the Roseanne that we have been dealing with since Donald Trump became president, I do not like. She does not speak to me. This Roseanne is loud, obnoxious, inarticulate, and common. And it's a total 180 from the Roseanne that I grew up with, that I felt that I knew for so very long. So it's disappointing, as someone who grew up with Roseanne and someone who really liked the show Roseanne, is seeing her say things now that are completely removed from reality, that do not allow for any critical thinking or just venture into a point of well-being. Like, you can say what you want. Whoopi Goldberg is a good example. Whoopi Goldberg, I adore as an actress and an actor. Whoopi Goldberg, I have grown up with from Star Trek. I followed immensely. I think she's an amazing talent. I think she says some stupid things, but the difference between Whoopi Goldberg and Roseanne now is Roseanne says stupid things and they're hurtful. Whoopi Goldberg might say something stupid, but it's coming from a place where it's not hurtful. There's a difference. Whoopi Goldberg's place of her maybe off-putting remarks that she says are trying to get to a point where it is a place where humanity can go. Roseanne is just loud. That is the difference between the two women who I grew up with. And Roseanne Barr, as she's Roseanne, serious Roseanne Connor, but Roseanne Barr, and that was the character. Roseanne Barr, Roseanne Arnold, that Tom Arnold thing. Oh my God! Now, if I were ever to interview a person, Roseanne Arnold or Tom Arnold, Roseanne Barr and Roseanne Arnold, I would give my right arm to interview Tom Arnold. I would love to dumpster dive into that guy's head. I think that would be so much fun to just say, okay, we're going in. Everybody hold on to your hats, because that would be fun. Roseanne Barr, who I for a long time adored as an actress and comedian, I think is just a shell of her former self. And the thing she says is the reason for it. So, she believes, according to The Blaze, that, and oh my God, she's 69 years old. Wow. She is good looking for 69. She does not look, I would have never guessed 69. But it is what it is. Roseanne is a 69-year-old comedian and believes that ABC was looking for a reason to get rid of Roseanne over her personal and political opinions. She did a Reels documentary, according to the article, and she says any tweet that was not "I love Hillary Clinton," I got a call for. She said during the documentary. Barr added that once she tweeted about a conspiracy that did not theory that Parkland shooting survivor had given a Nazi salute and a gun control rally. She later removed the tweet and issued a correction. And she said ABC called her frequently. Barr added that everyone was begging her to give up Twitter. According to her, she's a god. And she couldn't. And I'm a bad girl, and I'm too rock and roll, and I'm going to say fuck it and fuck you until I take my last breath. And honestly, that's one of the things I've always liked about Roseanne. Roseanne was one of these people who just, Roseanne Barr was one of these people who just said what was on her mind and let the chips fall where they may. But here's the thing about doing that. When you say what is on your mind and you let the chips fall where they may, which is something I like to do, they may not always fall in your favor, and you might get canceled. That's how society works. If you go and you do something in the wrong way, and happen to not be honest about how you said or were perceived to have said something in the wrong way, society is then going to come after you. And society is going to, I don't know, take the piss out of you. They just are. Barr got fired for saying Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes had a baby, talking about Valerie Jarrett. And her excuse was, I should not have done it, but I was really pissed that day. And I did something I shouldn't do if I had been on Ambien. It makes you do crazy shit. Well, maybe don't tweet and be on Ambien. Take some personal responsibility. You'd like to talk about that? Don't tweet and be on Ambien. Or maybe, don't tweet. But she complains that she was not even afforded the opportunity to apologize, according to the Blaze article. They called her up and were like, what possible excuse do you have got for this? For why you did this? Now, why did you do such an egregious, unforgivable thing? And she said, I have no excuse. The only thing is, I thought she was white. And they said nothing back. The comedian said that she was a victim of intellectual witch burning. No. See, here's the thing. Okay, you were stupid and you thought she was white. You still said a horribly awful thing, and you deserve the backlash that you get. Like if I tweet something and it gets backlash, I deserve the backlash I get because I tweeted it. By the way, not on Ambien. I like to point out that she knows that she is controversial. She has been controversial since she sang at the baseball game and did her weird rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. And I hope whoever hired her to do that fired her. But people know it's like Gilbert Gottfried, who I adore and wish I got to see as a comedian while he was alive. Gilbert Gottfried got fired for saying a joke about the Japanese after Fukushima, and he was taken off the Affleck campaign. I was going to say Geico, but the Affleck campaign. And he had the consequences of making a bad joke during a bad situation, and he ate the consequences. But again, I go back to, you are hiring Gilbert Gottfried. The companies need to take personal responsibility in this too. You are hiring Roseanne Barr. You are hiring Gilbert Gottfried. You need to take some responsibility for the decision that you make to hire these people. MSNBC hired Michael Savage, knowing how he behaves on the radio. They fired him for saying what he said about homosexuals and AIDS. They did the right thing. In fact, they dramatically cut his feed on the air the day he even said it. That's how that works. But the companies have to take some responsibility for their hiring of these people. Affleck knew what they were getting with Gilbert Gottfried. All you had to do is see one set of Gilbert Gottfried, see one roast of Gilbert Gottfried, and you know what you're going to get with Gilbert Gottfried. You know what you're going to get from Don Rickles. You know what you're going to get from Roseanne Barr. So the companies have to take responsibility here. And what drives me nuts on a regular basis, the companies never are taken to task for their practices. Like they know the commodity they're getting in the person they're hiring. So take responsibility for hiring that person. I know that if I hire Jimmy Dore, I'm going to get a certain amount of Jimmy Dore that may not be acceptable to everybody. I know that if I hire Cenk Uygur, I may not get an acceptable amount of things from everybody that are for Cenk Uygur. You know, it's how the world works here, people. It's real. You hire me. You know what you're going to get. Or at least you should. You should do, like, when Jimmy Dore had the Boogaloo Boy on his show, Jimmy Dore should have done enough research or had his team do enough research on the Boogaloo Boys and the person that he was going to interview to know that maybe I shouldn't do this interview. Maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe, I shouldn't go there. Or if I'm going to go there, you do a confrontational, knowledge-based, critical thinking interview with the person. Like when, I don't know, the Young Turks talked to Pastor David Manning. The interview with Pastor David Manning was not a friendly interview. You could go look it up. It was not friendly. It was not kind. It was confrontational. It was exactly as an interview should be with somebody who is a racist and a bigot. You do your research when you're going to deal with someone like Roseanne Barr. You do your research when you're going to deal with somebody like Jimmy Dore. You do your research when you're going to deal with somebody in any level for your product or service. It's basic critical thinking. It's not hard. It's basic critical thinking. You have to actually be intellectually honest and say, this is what Roseanne Barr is. This is what we're getting. So we got to get how it's going to be with Roseanne Barr. I mean, for Pete's sake, it's not hard. Google. It's a wonderful thing. So you go and you do the work and you get the result you want. Now it's a totally different thing if you're looking to be controversial and you're looking to be Joe Rogan and you're looking for that kind of in your face gotcha clickbait Daily Mail type of situation. If that's what you want and that's what you're looking for, excuse me, by all means, go for it. Right? If that is what you are trying to go after, and you are going to get that from the person you are dealing with. But if you come in to the situation with, and it's like ABC did not know or not ever work with Roseanne Barr before. ABC made its show Roseanne a household name because they worked with Roseanne Barr before. So they knew they were getting a person who could be an interesting commodity. They knew from the get-go. So to sit there and not take any responsibility and not get any blowback from it really frustrates me. And for Roseanne just to think that, I shouldn't have said it, but it's not that big a deal anyway. So why are you making it a big deal? That negates personal responsibility. That negates the ability for the person to be able to come across dealing with a situation in a manner that should be properly dealt with. I don't, you have to explain it to me because I do not understand why people think that they should get a pass for their behavior and how they act. I will never understand it. I will never understand how it is. People just think that they can behave a certain way and act a fool and then suddenly just not have any consequence. Like things I do and say in my personal life, I deal with consequences of it every single day. So what I need an explanation of is why there are people who think that there are no consequences and why there are people who think that they can just get away with whatever it is they're going to get away with and do. I don't understand that process where people think that suddenly there is not going to be some type of consequential thing that will happen. That has to be that. I mean, my God, man. There are consequences literally to everything you do. And there should be consequences, whether they be good or bad. And for the Blaze to just pour me Roseanne. This is another reason I can never be a conservative this day and age. Because the conservatives are so willing to just say, oh, well, they agree with me. So what's the harm in what they did? Why can't we just carry on with Roseanne and let her have her show and let her continue on? Well, if that's the case, if we're going to go that route, don't get mad when Dave Rubin on your side decides, you know what, I'm gay, I'm living and loving a gay man, I want to have babies, so I'm going to have a surrogate and I'm going to have babies with the man I love. Don't get all mad. Dave Rubin agrees with you. So you don't have to celebrate with what David Rubin does, but you have to accept that and I'm simply going by how conservatives act. You have to accept what Dave Rubin has done, because in the grand scheme, it's not that big a deal, because he's Dave Rubin and he agrees with 90% of what you guys on the right say. So he shouldn't be canceled. You should not get mad that Dave Rubin has decided to have a baby and is gay. I'm mad because he didn't decide to adopt, and that's a whole nother issue. Not because he decided. There are plenty of kids who they could have adopted and given a better life to, but instead they had to go the narcissistic way and say, knock them up, baby. And that's what they're doing. So I have a different beef with Dave Rubin. But that being said, the conservatives should not be mad and not have agita for Dave Rubin if Roseanne Barr can get away with saying what and how she said what she said and act what and how she said what she said, and because she agrees with them, get a pass. If you're being honest, you should shut down, or dare I say cancel, the person and have them have consequences. Yes, people can be rehabilitated. Yes, people can change. Yes, we hope for people to do that. But if they're not, and they're behaving in the same fashion and manner that they're doing, unless you're a conservative, as I said, cancel culture is the way. And it's pretty simple. I don't understand why anybody would have an argument with that. And on that note, we're done for the day. Coming up next on FYNation.com is the Robin Kincaid Show. She will be live on Head On with Robin Kincaid, and I hope you stay tuned for that adventure into realism and critical thinking. And I hope you stick around for my show tomorrow from 3 to 5. We will be taping the show at noon because I have to be somewhere, so we will tape the show for you for it to air, and we'll have the podcast up directly after the taping. I want to thank you all for joining me. Hope everybody stays safe. Happy 420, and puff, puff, pass. That's all, folks. Bye for now.